Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thanks again for joining me here. Hope you're having a phenomenal day. We're taking a good look here at Bitcoin today. We're going to jump into just a few back-end things here. Bitcoin dominance, CME futures, and obviously some liquidation. So be sure to stick through to the end. It's going to be important. I'll try to make this brief as possible. So if you're new to the channel, thanks again for joining me here. Hope you can learn something here today. My whole goal is to help you learn to become a better trader. CryptoCash.tech is a site if you want to change that up a little bit, become a little bit more advanced. So what we want to look at here is about open interest. First of all, 41,200 is like the set standard right now. So 41.2 is a point of contention. Prices are either above or below that, but that's the heaviest concentration of interest at that level. Okay, and we take a look at this here. This is basically liquidation. Let's make sure to refresh this here based on the last 7 days. Okay, so the last 7 days of volume, basically. Well, I mean, it is volume, but for lack of better terms, we got a crazy amount of longs here. Okay, so let's make this clear. I get the question a lot on how liquidation works. Pretty simple. When you have a heavy concentration of liquidation, it becomes a target for the whales to try to sweep that level so they can move the price wherever they want. Okay, it's a very, very common characteristic. So I'm a little concerned here with this 40,500 mark being so heavily concentrated that there's a good chance we're going to see that level swept. Okay, and again, probably some high leverage longs. When we have this concentration, it typically is high leverage. So some folks are probably using 50 to 100x leverage. Again, this is an aggregated delta across multiple exchanges, or generally speaking, we're just seeing a lot of volume there. Okay, so try to be careful with just trading a long position right now. It does feel like Bitcoin still wants to pull back. We do have a concentration here about 43,500, so 43.5. And roughly 40,500, that $3,000 range is roughly where the price action will vary until it sweeps one of those two levels. Okay, much more likely for the price to pull back than it is to go higher. The reason why I have the weekly chart here is just because I got the question about dollar cost averaging into larger time frames, which is advantageous. It's not a guarantee, of course, but just to kind of clarify it, price does pull back. I got some limit orders at 40. 39.5, 39,000, 38.5, but more importantly, I have a heavy concentration of spot interest at 37,200. So 37.2 is where I put, so a pretty large amount of market order there and my spot bag. So just some friendly advice. These are the levels that are normally retraced to in the larger time frames. It'll probably take weeks before we get there, if at all, but just know that's an option. Okay. What we want to talk about too is Bitcoin dominance. It is up. It doesn't look like it, but it's definitely up on the day. And that is sending the market into a strange place. Okay, so again, price is going all over. So be careful trading coins today. I got the question like, "Hey, where's your signals? You didn't say anything all weekend." Well, not only was I busy, but I just don't really trade on the weekends too much. But more importantly, just because today's Monday doesn't mean I have to rush a trade and force a trade. I'll find something, I'm sure, with 10, 20 analysis that I make, those videos I make per day. But what I'm getting at here is I'm not going to force a trade with Bitcoin because it just doesn't feel like it's ready. And with the market being so crazy like this, you got to be careful with some alts. Okay, they're kind of on a hair trigger right now. So just some friendly advice. Speaking of hair trigger, this is important to recognize. We got two CME gaps with Bitcoin. We're kind of in between both. Have a fairly large one from before. Let's go ahead and make that a little cleaner. From what is it, roughly about 39,003 upwards of 40,500. Again, we got to remember all that liquidity right here. Okay, so there's a good chance that we'll see a liquidation level there at one point. I'm just leaning more towards the price pulling back at this point. That said, we do also have a potential here at 42,400 is the upper side of this recent CME gap that took place here recently. Again, you can kind of see that there, where the price action basically on Friday had closed at 42.4 and it had opened on Sunday at 42 or 41.9. Okay, so again, not a massive gap, but those typically get filled at some point. Okay, so we could see the price do one of these, just kidding, and come down, a little dead cat, or just the price inevitably sweeps down and sometime later we see that filled. Those are a couple of possible scenarios. Again, I like to just educate you on big picture stuff that really helps us understand what's going on. Now that we kind of know those general back-end targets or those things that are commonly manipulated, we can look at the daily time frame, work our way down. So we've got a couple of sets of fibs here. One of the most recent, week worth of trading, and of course this larger one. Disregard the large one for now, but just know that 40,000, pretty much even 40,100 is a moderately strong support level based on larger time frames, 0.236. If we lose that, 37.2 roughly would be the next level that we could see retested. Again, big picture stuff. We're not there yet. I wouldn't worry about it. Just like to make sure that you know that. The thing that is big picture that's unfortunate and just kind of remember, like I like to say, like, it's an eye opener when you lose a 20-day SMA on the daily. We have officially lost that. We closed below yesterday and today so far. Our doji candle is not really doing so well. Okay, so simply put, 41.7 is a new potential resistance based on that level. 0.382 is also averaging about 42K. So honestly, 40,500 to 42,000 is somewhat of a resistance area for us. That said, though, the sky isn't falling. It's just letting us know that we had to pay closer attention because we lost our ascending trend. This trend has been continuing since November 22nd. So we're looking at roughly about 4 weeks of uptrend from 35.7. Upwards of obviously 44.5 or 44.8. So what does all that mean? Well, let's look at the RSIs and see. Money flow index is low, coming down as per usual with sell-offs, and we can see RSI still above 50. So that's a consolation, not in terrible shape. Stochastic is swinging down as well. We shouldn't see much further of a stochastic divergence, but again, anything could happen there. But generally speaking, when you see stochastic swinging down a second time, that is a little more impactful. And we could very well see the price continue in that direction, especially confirming the fact that we're still diverging on the MACD. Again, the daily time frame is a significant lag, 24 hours. So we don't see a lot of micro movements here, but we do understand generally that we're moving in a downward direction. We're below this descending trend. Okay, we're honoring the ascending trend still tentatively, but not really. Again, we lost a 20. So again, just a few things to kind of think about. Now, Bitcoin is bipolar. It could be up to 45,000 tomorrow. You never truly know. But at this point, what we're looking at is a stronger likelihood of the price action continuing lower. Just generally speaking, that's where we're at. Not a significant amount of fair value or liquidity on the daily time frame. Let's quickly note that on the 4-hour that we have swept a majority of this lower level of liquidity. There is still some upper levels at 44.8, but again, I think we're a little ways away from that. So I'm not super concerned with that. I would be more concerned with this guy right here. Seems like a glaringly obvious area or target for the whales. So whether you want to short to that level or consider taking a long at that point, it's up to you. But those are definitely some thoughts, of course, that you could entertain. Taking a look here at the MACD, we're starting to swing up, but we haven't converged yet. Nothing to see here. Taking a look at the RSI, getting closer to 35, or we bounced out 35. Closer to 30. Again, the closer you get to 30, the more likely the price is to recover. If we look at the history of Bitcoin or any coin for the most part, they get to this level here at 30 on the RSI. You see the price action come down. It was right here. So when it hit that level, it inevitably continued higher. Okay. Now, again, it's not a guarantee, but just a statistical probability the price will go up then down. Now, we didn't hit 30, so there is that, but we still came kind of low. So it makes sense for the price to pull back up. It would also make sense for the price to reject off of that fib level here at about 41.9. Okay, so 41.9 to me seems like an interesting level there that we want to pay attention to. If we do not get a closure above that, it might be considered a short opportunity. Taking a look at the hourly, let's just wrap this up here for you. Oh, and also too, quickly to note, thanks again for just all the awesome support I've been receiving. Super cool comments. Thank you so much for that. I deeply appreciate all the likes and just generally just being awesome, encouraging people. We're all in this together, right? That's the whole point. Also, to make sure you join up with Bitunix, phenomenal exchange. Just kind of let you know, of course, no KYC, no VPN. A lot of our community members got hit hard with those requirements. So be sure to check them out. They're a phenomenal exchange. Okay, so last thing we want to look at here is the hourly, and we want to clarify a couple things here on the cloud because when I looked at this over the weekend, it was looking pretty bad. It still looks pretty bad because we have momentum to the downside, conversion lines below the baseline, lagging spans not free and clear, but kind of is. It's kind of like right there. So that is, for the most part, clear, but also not. So to me, that's kind of not a buy signal per se. But the key takeaway here is that you don't want to buy anything at this point because we're well below the cloud. We do not have confirmation we're going to break above that anytime soon. So in a perfect world, we close today at about 41,900 or higher. And what that would do is I'd put the price action naturally at this point, and we'd be confirming it with a few hours of closure above the cloud itself. Okay, so that's a perfect case scenario. So if today happens to close at that level or higher, great. If not, we may want to consider keeping your short open if you have one, or maybe even opening one at that point. Okay. Again, I'm leaning a little bit more towards a short position with Bitcoin right now. Based on everything we've seen so far, it doesn't seem like the probability of the price pulling up is high. We do also want to recognize, though, of course, that there's nothing there. Let me see here really quick. Because we're working ourselves into this kind of, this wedge type of pattern. And a lot of times the price has a tendency of breaking to the upside, honestly, since it derived from the downside. So in a big picture, you could kind of argue that this is a bullish type of pennant pattern, but we'll have to kind of keep an eye on that because it's not really all that clean. Okay, again, just some thoughts. All right, folks, I hope that made sense and I described this correctly. Thank you again so much for watching. If you found benefit, of course, like, subscribe, follow, and feel free to add a comment or two, and I look forward to working with you. If you want to become a better trader, again, cryptocash.tech is a site. Link down below. We'll look forward to seeing the next one. Take care.